And I'm back with Miles Edgeworth, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. So, Miles has successfully figured out certain people were involved with the killing of Elise Donim. Iris is the potential suspect, but Sister Bikini saw the whole thing, as apparently so did Larry Butts, or Loris Donim. So, let's see what Miles has up his sleeve here in the actual trial. Because remember, Phoenix is not going to come back for a little while, so this is his job. Oh my, Mr. Lloris feels that way about me? Apparently. He isn't even aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed. I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing. Worry not, and in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, I will drag it out of him. Does that mean Mr. Lloris is the witness today? No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand. Sister Bikini. She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Donim, correct? That's correct. It wasn't me. Very well then. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed... Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements. I see. Iris. It is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once. Mr. Edgeworth. I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I've been instructed. Very well, sir. I'll leave my defense in your capable hands. Yeah, just making sure the audio's fine here. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution. Indeed. I'm not sure I like that blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case was already over before it had a chance to begin. I'm ready to announce my verdict at this time. The court will find the defendant... Yes! Yes, she's back! The prosecution stands ready. And you are... from Ziska von Karma. Prosecuting prodigy. Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma. Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma, that is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot. By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, you are. I'm almost certain I've seen you somewhere before, or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you're imagining things. Miss Von Karma, do you have anything to say? There's no such weakling as the man among this prosecutor's office. There isn't. But I'm sure once before... Ow! I told you. There is no such weakling. What is that, whip? Not sure I care for that sort of thing in my courtroom. Remove that whippet. I have no objections to it. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. There is only one truth, and that is that I stand what to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix right here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I've been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip between my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my courtroom. Ow! The stage is set. Now continue with your proceedings, Your Honor. Very well. Miss Von Karma, please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed picture booth author, Miss Elise Dorning. Her body was found in Hasakura Temple courtyard. She'd have been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture, is this the weapon in question, correct? Very well, the court accepts this photo as of the crime scene. There's no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there's a witness to the crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Oh, it's the Cody Hackett's thing again. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for a back pain plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. Once again, your name and occupation. Little old me? Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Nice to meet everyone. But you don't appear to be wearing one right now. Ow! The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist, let me tell you. I'm a sight to behold in summer. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place in the night in question. That's right. I can still hardly believe it to myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do such a thing. Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements last night. Or that night. That night, I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to the temple. There's no bath in the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long, hard soak. After I was finished, I was heading back, and that's when I heard it. That's when I saw it. Huh? So it was simply coincidence you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple? You could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. It sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There is only one problem with these testimonies that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle now, are you, Miles Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Third statement, Iris's testimony. Got it. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well, don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of the Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. This discrepancy between this testimony and that of the defendant. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed to her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No, she said that? A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, I suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her own back. But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. But that's odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie. She does indeed seem to have honest eyes. Ah! All people lie. That is my belief. Am I the only one being whipped here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question. Dear. You're older than me and you want to play that game, do you? Well, that's not exactly what... My memory's perfect, crystal clear, especially in winter. Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination. Mr. Edgeworth, if you're going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood. It is naive to think that alone would do the trick. Then please add the comments about Iris to your testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. Witness, let me get one thing straight. The defendant whom you've claimed to have met. She was wearing the demon-warding hood, correct? Well, of course she was. That's a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that? That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know, this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights-out bell was rung. What? You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then Iris, she saw, should have been missing this very hood. Wow! It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. And now I understand that happy look on his face every time he does it. Order! Witness now! Sister, this hood. You have spare ones around the temple, don't you? The spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see. Stockpile, a surplus. Each nun has only given one. This should be the only hood that Iris ever owned. This is quite strange. No! If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here. I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness. While I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw when finishing your bath, on the way back to the inner temple. Those seeds of doubt are spreading in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. Well, I took a look, and Iris was... Oh, Mystic Elise, and with that sword of all things. Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces out of the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of the window. You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would have been Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Well, something like that. This judge. His imaginations is as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe. I would look as a fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth. Calling everyone by their full names. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Fifth statement. Lisa's autopsy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Impressive logic. That's what I would say, anyway. Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter. However, I think you're overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at this autopsy report? The autopsy? The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. That's right. It says after death. The scene the witness claims seems to have been contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim here in this courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall? Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room, don't you agree? This is a logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her very own room. And she was thrown out of her window down to the courtyard below. Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a bloodstain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, were there any bloodstains? Ah! No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no blood in your room, you're back. I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure Your Honor is well aware of when a stab wound produces the most blood. When it produces the most blood, very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, then that would be when the blade is removed. Indeed, with the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. And that's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. Perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We have come to the conclusions. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. Order! I must admit this is a probable version of events. I expect no less from Franziska. She locates and takes control of every vital point. It seems that we need a clear testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition from your part and tell us only the facts. Witness, please! Remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage when we are finished. With the whip? Oh boy. Alright then. Wow, she's excited by that prospect, and I'm sure many viewers are too. When I looked across the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mystic Elise. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. Can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mystic Ami was stabbing Mystic Elise through the back. This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karmas strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together the facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeworth. Perfection is an impossibility, Francisca. And I'm here to teach you that. Alright. So, third statement and press. 1, 2, 3. Hold it! I love how he said that. So you were saying you saw the victim's blood. That's right! It had been splattered onto Iris, too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner. What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well. That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding from when the victim was stabbed. But now you say you saw the victim bleeding? Well, I say I saw what I saw. Well, what did you see? Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her plain as day. Pulling the sword out? Well, it wasn't exactly pulling, it's more like it came out. Witness, you will add this to your testimony. Was that important? More important than you can imagine. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I would like to think so. But there are too many contradictions. What do you mean? You make it sound like I'm a liar! You're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust upon to its hilt, the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please explain yourself! Explain yourself! To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how you look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that. Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble! I too may appear weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose. Again, things I'm betting certain people would want to have happen. Why am I making it sound like I want that? Anyway, never mind. The objection stands. I whipped a little back there, I must admit. Sounds like the judge would too. Anyway, this isn't the only issue here. If the sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at the branches of it. It certainly would come out smoothly. We also have the problem with the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in the body, it acts as a plug. However, when a weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be far too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding. That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with the shishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly, and may still sometimes stop bloodless. I'm not finished. There's still one more conclusive contradiction. You've still got more. This one is simple. If the sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? If the witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword. No! Bravo, Miles Edgeworth, raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All other attorneys I know could maybe manage one. What does it mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but having come this far, there's only one answer. And that is, the weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shishito. Shishito. Again, even in the earlier case, I still have trouble saying that word. What? A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool. There's this again. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think this sword was the murder weapon? Well, it's because Mr. Gami was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong, and that's what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that Shishito was the murder weapon. Order! Order! Maybe it was not the murder weapon. Even if that was the case, it changes nothing! The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. That is so. I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. Namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? Goes without saying, the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to where a sword-like object was found. That's... answer the question, Miss Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Another mystery to throw upon the pile. The trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me. Can I say something? I just remembered something. What is it, sister? I was just thinking it's possible that maybe what actually happened was over there. What exactly are you going on about? The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe... I think I know where it was dropped off and disposed of. What? Well then, I think we need to hear testimony one more time from you, sister. It's impossible. What else could this old woman have seen? I saw the murder at around 11, and after asking to be reported, I went out to the main gate, and then I saw tracks. Tracks of the indicated a snowmobile had been used. It takes a 15-minute walk to the Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into the Eagle River. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile. Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time. Well, I'm not in the best of shape with my back and age, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph. A snowmobile, I see. Well, that's certainly an interesting theory. The tracks begin in front of Hasakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge. That solves your pesky little problem, yes? The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of a murder weapon. Did you really go to the river to dispose of a murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. Fifth or sixth statement. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder. You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth. However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks? What do you mean? Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If that's the case, then naturally there should be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge and those coming back. Oh, you're right. You are forgetting one thing. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by snowfall. This removes your previous and precious contradiction, now doesn't it? I see. So while she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there really a flaw in her theory? This idea that snowfall covered one set of tracks. The tracks to the river were covered by snow. That's a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that is impossible. Would you care to explain why there's a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction? No need. The evidence will do all of the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary. Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow. Witness, please tell us again what time it was you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Of course. That means the weapon was thrown away after that time. On that note, please take a look at this data. This is a weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report. Snow started to fall around 7, but stopped around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime, the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks to have been made after the time it was been covered up. Oh! Order! Very well, then. Looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. No! It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on weather of all things. Answer me this, then. When is a weather report ever correct? No, you got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast, this is actual data. Now! Forecast data. All weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11. If it's true, we cannot be totally sure. What? How did she pull that off? It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well. I too cannot allow my doubt to remain concerning this testimony. You can't back down now, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where's your evidence that it already stopped snowing? Ultimately, it comes down to one point. That being whether or not it was snowing in the courtyard when the victim was stabbed. That's right. Proving that is incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered in snow, with just one exception. That is, the victim herself, Miss Elise Doden. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed. That's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be two sets of tracks. Order! Just what are you— Ow! Just what is it you're suggesting, Miles Edgeworth? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing. Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by snow. Then, when this person returned, the snow had stopped. Thus, the returned tracks remained. Can I say something? This all sounds a little fishy to me. What the, sister? There's there's only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder. Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple. But Iris said she never went there. I should probably press this some more when I get the chance. The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hazakura side and crossed on foot. That sounds right. But what's odd is, when I left Iris and returned to the temple, I didn't see anything at Dusky Bridge. You must have just failed to see it. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too. But that's not possible. Order! What does this all mean? So then what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that were the case, there would be two sets of tracks. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to the temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile would cause so much trouble. I think we've learned all we can from this witness. Yeah, yes. I have nothing more to add. I've told you everything. Everything that I know. But then, that leaves us with the same problem. If there was only someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness, huh? Was there no one out, perhaps walking perhaps near Dusky Bridge? I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go wandering in like that. Unless they had something really important to do. That's a shame. Hold on. Something's coming to me. An idiot may very well have gone wandering out that night. Your Honor, actually, there might be some individual who might be of some help. Really? You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder? I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are two things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder, and the second, this individual that I'm thinking of went wandering outside on a cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about? Yep, he's a Canadian guy, alright. Larry Butts. Larry Butts, Larry Butts, Larry Butts. Let's go. This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Deladoux's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting. This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim. A student? Interesting. And why was he wandering outside in the night? Wandering about. That's... I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I can't guarantee that this is the reason. And so, is this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man? What exactly was it he saw? I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom. Summon this youth as a witness immediately. I have no choice, do I? I believe he's in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him. Very well. Larry. You may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you. The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness. Understood, Your Honor. Good. Well then, court is now in recess. Hooray! Oh, oops. Sorry. And there we go. I shall save it, and I will call it a day.